welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney. Last time, we got a case that we didn't officially take on. Now we're back to try to track down Herlock Sholmes again. It looks as though the police are still here, carrying on with their investigation. Perfect! So let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible. Yes, and let's see if he'll take a break from his chips to look at the silver tip Iris gave us for him. Oh, do I need to present it? This is like really late in the game too. We've been presenting stuff to people like up to this point, right? Like in just general conversation? That's like happened before, right? I'm just thinking like, this is like the fourth case. This isn't like a tutorial to tell us that we need to actually present things to people. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment?
Yeah, I'm sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Much too busy to talk to a pair of foreign gadabouts, that's for sure.
We have these for you. A present from Miss Iris Wilson.
Run! For me, from her ladyship.
Her ladyship?
Give that here at once. Come on, hand it over. That's for me.
Ah! Oh, don't wait for me to give it to you, will you? Her ladyship? What the fuck? What was that coin exactly?
It's of crown, obviously. But it's a lot more than that. It's, well, it's an appearance fee, that's what it is.
An appearance fee? Oh, I see. You mean...
That's right. Well, the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. The ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me, every time.
Yes, of course. I know all about your exploits, Inspector. I've read them avidly.
Of course. You're using my name without my say, so does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes, but still.
I'm sorry, Inspector. That must be difficult for you.
Never mind that. Never you mind that. So, what do you want to know then, eh?
Sorry?
Now the gentleman in black, whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem, it says. Obviously, it's not a problem. Go on, fire away. What do you want to know?
Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector, we'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings, which... Couldn't we have just asked Mr. Natsumi about that information?
Ah, the little knife-wielding mustache Japanese fellow. He lives in a right old hovel. It's just over there. Look.
Like, physically, we just... It's literally just right there. It's like next to it. Oh my goodness, okay.
On the first floor of that house on the corner where the wreck of the bicycle's propped up.
That seems suspicious. That is nearby indeed.
If I remember rightly, the landlord is a Mr. John Garadeb. Right, well, if you see her again, you make sure to give her ladyship my regards, you hear? I mean it. You tell her. Gregson sends his very best wishes.
Don't worry, Inspector, we will.
Goodbye for now, then. And long live her ladyship.
Okay, is she like royalty or some shit? I mean, well, at least he told us what we wanted to know before he left. He acts like she's royalty. Like a legitimate salute. Yes, so then, shall we go and see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings? Definitely. I do want to check out the spike first, though. It is, if it's like, it is way more suspicious. Oh, a British bicycle, look! Although the wheel is misshapen, I'm sure it couldn't possibly be ridden anymore. Someone must have been doing some breakneck cycling. It seems bicycles have been extremely popular in London recently. There's even a movement to change women's dress to allow them to ride as well.
The bicycle fad won't last. I don't see why anyone would want to ride something like that.
Cars, trains, bicycles. Never gonna last. I gotta be honest, like, one of my earliest memories, like that stands out as clear to me because I distinctly remember it, like, where I was and, like, the images around me and me thinking it. Because I remember just, like, oh, I had to have been, like, early teens at the time, if not a little younger. I remember searching through my phone, just reading articles, and I remember seeing an article pop up about this newfangled thing called Facebook. And I didn't really use MySpace or anything. I wasn't really into all that or anything like that, so I didn't really have, like, a ball in the game, for better or for worse. But I remember thinking, huh, well, that's not gonna last. I do remember thinking that when I was just, like, a kid. Oh, goodness, do you dislike bicycles? And to know, it was before Facebook was even, like, actually, like, even remotely close to big. It was just, like, when it was first, like, starting to gain a little traction. No, not at all. I mean, it's not that I dislike them exactly. It's just that any occupation that involves taking both your feet off the firm ground seems reckless. If you've ever tried walking on stilts and fallen into a river, I know you'd agree with me. Okay, that is way too specific. Well, I have to hire a bicycle sometime. You can sit behind me while I ride you around. Aw. That's a rather typical old brick building, isn't it? I'm sure it's long and interesting history. Well, time certainly has taken its toll on the place. It's crooked and sagging all over. In fact, it looks in decidedly worse shape than any of the other houses around here. That's fair. Strand Street and Briar Street. So we're at an intersection of, I assume, Briar Street, which is probably what we're seeing along-wise. And Strand Street goes the other way? According to Inspector Gregson, this house where Mr. Natsumi has lodgings. Just across the road for where the incident took place, I see. Which makes the Great Deduction seem a lot less great, right? Must be awful for Seki-san. Getting caught up in something like this in a foreign land. So can I just move to it? I can! Fantastic. Oh boy, what the actual... Everything's all off, a bit off. Huh. May I help you? Ah, yes. Would this be the residence of Mr. John Gerdem? Oh, okay. I see a lot of guns, I'm gonna note. The cannon seems the most suspicious. It's a little weird that there's like a dress or an apron, probably more dress, on top of it. Yeah, this definitely doesn't seem like a very distinct blaze. Indeed it would, sir. And who may I say is calling? My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I am... Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Soseki Natsumi. I believe he takes lodgings here. We would very much like to ask him some questions about our client. One moment, please. I shall convey the message to Mr. Gerdem. Okay. That's a development. Did you see that, Mrs. Otto? That was a real-life English maid. I know. As I understand it, anyone of standing in English society employs a number of household staff. Well, given the, quality of the lodgings outside, I wouldn't exactly say that this person is likely to have a lot of money, right? He'd probably keep it in much better condition if he was just, like, super rich. That was the first time I've ever seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better and better. It certainly feels like we've really arrived now, doesn't it? Oh, we only need to meet a butler and the experience will be complete. Well, I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but I understand the sentiment. Thank you for waiting. Mr. Kawadab will see you now. This way. What?
Jay to you. Mr. Garrett, at your service.
Just like the immediate reaction of what I feel like his voice would be. Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. He is a defense lawyer.
Do excuse me not getting up. Took a shot to the knee a few years back in the Battle of Maiwan, don't you know?
Oh, yeah, that sounds like a reference.
Earned a medal for my pains, but had to withdraw from service. Handed over the brains to the up-and-comings.
So he's a retired soldier. Okay. Is that a real battle? Maiwan. I mean, I'm just curious now. Battle of Maiwan. It is real Anglo-African War. Oh, okay, so yay imperialism. We are super duper imperialism at the moment. And that was 1880, okay. Anglo-Afghan War, too. Okay, that's like Middle East back in the 1800s. Hey, what do you know? Constant warring from outside in the Middle East. Shock and awe, right? Very, very interesting. So he's a retired soldier?
It's a hell of a job getting up and down the stairs now. I tell you. Don't get out much, as you can imagine.
Yes, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was, panting at the top of the stairs. You really must take more exercise, Mr. Naruhodo. Do you really think so? Well, Mr. Garradeb, no doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal.
No, it's nothing. The medal is just a folderol, really. Would like to offend the general, though, so I grudgingly display it on the wall. Why don't you venture down, Joan? Let these good people see it properly. Down, venture! Dash it on, woman, be careful!
Oh, do me? I do beg your pardon, sir.
Oh, golly, nearly took her skin off my hands.
I shall be more careful, sir.
Oh, anyway, there you have it. Living the quiet life now.
Yes, I see.
Now then, I want to hear... I want you to know... I hear you want to know about the chap lounging downstairs, is that right?
Yes, we would be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us.
Only to please, naturally. Especially if it helps the bees here and lightly. We've forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, as I'm sure you are aware. So this case is very much in the public eye, as it were.
I thought we were tracking down Herlock Sholmes. Wasn't he supposed to be at the scene? Or was that Gregson? Am I just remembering wrong because it's been like a week and a half since I recorded last?
Even had some famous detective poking around, you know. In his old house, would you believe?
Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. In my cup of tea and all that detective business.
Oh, you have a copy of Rance Magazine here, so...
Huh? Oh, no,
Oh, he lied. Anyway, the chap's investigating the fall in his room as we speak. So he's in Sasaki-san's room.
It's a bally nuisance is what it is. The whole neighborhood's twitching in curtains now. I don't like all this fuss. It's jolly unsettling.
Okay. About Mr. Natsumi then, Mr. Garradeb. Please, do tell us.
Oh, yes, the Japanese job. Only been lodging here for a week.
What? Wait, what? A week? Oh, just 1 week. So he moved in very recently then.
I have 2 lodges most of the time. One on the ground floor and one just above, below us. The first floor room became available a week ago, you see.
Josh and Hot Joe, do be careful. Oh, my goodness, I'm terribly sorry, sir. And back into it. If you want to know my opinion, I thought he was a shady sort from the moment I set eyes on him. She is... This does feel like an intentional... That fucking wiggle. Okay. I'm trying to look because, like, he clearly lied at a point. I'm trying to... Like, I think they're covering something up. Like, that's my first instinct. So I'm sort of keeping an eye on... Are there, like, tells that they have? And her going out of her way to try to make... That fucking wiggle. That fucking wiggle. Her going out of her way to sort of, like, throw suspicion on him. Reason to think that maybe... Oh, why? Oh, he seemed to have a most nervous disposition. Always shaking. And looking over his shoulder. The man had "shady" written across his sweat-soaked brow, if you ask me. I mean, she's not lying about any of that. I said to myself, Joan, that man is trouble. Sooner or later, he's going to do something untoward. And I'm rarely wrong on anything. Especially my tea pouring timing. We won't be calling this maid as a witness, that's for sure. Especially if she doesn't know shit. Was there anything else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all? Oh yes, indeed there was. And she's dying to tell us. Fine. Had you noticed anything else about your lodger, Mr. Natsume? Oh, my word, yes, the man was shadier than an orchard. Could you elaborate? Well, take the man's room. Oh, absolutely stuffed full of books it is. More than anyone could possibly ever read. Assuming I could read, I'm definitely not illiterate or something and judging someone for being illiterate. And he never has so much as passed the time of day with another living soul. I haven't seen even a single visitor call. I mean, that all seems to line up with his, like, situation at the very least. That's not really suspicious. Just probably out of the norm for people living here. But he's also just by nature out of the norm for people living here. He just trots off to that old bookshop every single day and comes back at 5 to light the gas fire. And the funny little man is up long past the time everyone else in the house has gone to bed too. Oh, I see. The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed around 9 each night. But I've never known that Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than 2 in the morning. Ah. Is that suspicious, or... Could you clarify something, I wonder? What, pray? How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine? Oh, I understood that neither of the lodgers live on the this floor of the house. Is that correct? That's definitely his tell. Are that both of their tells? The jiggle, the wiggle, jiggle, higgle, biggle, and the sweat drop. Guys, you wanted jiggle physics in your games, and you got it. You fucking got it. You fucking got it. Oh, Editing Echo, if you remember, name this episode Jiggle Physics. Oh my fucking goodness. That's right, yes, they're both below us. On the floor and street level. Then, how is it that you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? The precise times that they come back in the evening, for example. Even the times they go to bed.
Be more careful, woman.
Oh, my goodness, sir, I'm terribly sorry, sir.
Something doesn't add up here. It's almost like they were doing, like, research in order to concoct a story. To blame them. And they didn't answer. Oh my fucking goodness. Okay. Seems that the incident took place around 5 in the evening.
Do you happen to look out of the window at did you happen to look out the window at around that time?
The window.
Yes, we noticed that the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement, just on the far side of the street. Oh, are you saying that, he has a ton of guns and stuff and he has a perfect window to, like, snipe someone with a knife? I'm not sure if that's as believable, but still. Was there, anyone suspicious loitering nearby?
5 o'clock is dinner time in the Gerdeb household. So I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Joan?
No, sir. It would have been dusk outside already at that hour. And with the fog as well, I think it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road.
Oh, I see.
Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary then?
Such as...
Anything at all, even if it seems unrelated?
Well...
yes? Was there something?
Yes. Nothing particularly significant, but that's around for the love of God, Joan, watch what you're doing.
Oh, dearie me, what have I done? I'm awfully sorry. Okay, we've definitely passed the rule of 3 by now.
You'd be more fucking careful, woman. I mean, the joke only goes on so long.
Of course, sir.
At least try to think of a way to mix that joke up next time you do it.
Well, if I may, Mr. Narrow Hollow. You know what? Actually, I wonder if I went back and, like, looked at every time that it happened. If, like, what if it's a signal? I'm actually curious. One sec. Okay, so the log doesn't go back that far, but the one other example was an example of the maid almost seeming like she's trying to change the subject. So, okay, that's my current theory. The idea that the maid is explicitly going out of his way to stop him, or in the case of the one immediately before this, herself, from saying anything distracting from the situation, and then taking it over. Because I think the first time it happened, she did something similar, where she did that and then she started talking afterwards. If I may, Mr. Narrow Hollow. Oh, yeah? I have an exceedingly good memory as far as I remember. Nothing of any significance took place here at that hour. Nothing at all.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
Oh, really? Mr. Gerdeb, the way you were talking before, it sounded rather like there might have been.
Oh, well, as I was saying, it was just a trifling matter, really. Nothing... Ah!
Okay, the maid definitely is the murder.
Joan Dashittle, what is the matter with you, woman?
I wonder if it's supposed to be, like, exceedingly obvious at this point that she's hiding shit. Because it really does feel way more obvious. Becky, your pardon, sir. Nothing happened.
Yeah, quite. Nothing happened. We sat down to a quite uneventful meal. Joan?
That's right, Mr. Gerdeb.
What is the matter with these two?
Sounds like something happened here in this room on the evening of the incident. But what? I wish I knew. We'll have to grill it out of them, I guess. Can you tell us which floor Mr. Natsumi's room is on?
Why certainly. Just below us on the first floor.
And Mr. Sholmes is investigating there even as we speak?
Yes. Told me Knotz's name. Had asked him to look into the matter, so I gave him the key. Oh, he lied.
Mr. Natsumi has engaged Mr. Sholmes' services.
That's a blatant lie.
Would it be alright if we also had a look around? In Mr. Natsumi's room, I mean.
I don't see why not. He's just down one flight of stairs.
Who knows if we'll find anything that could help us with the case, but we have to try. We need all the clues we can lay our hands on, shall we? Yes. And while we're there, we can speak with Mr. Sholmes again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more.
Indeed.
Okay. Suspicious fucking room. Speaking of which. Oh, look. What a wonderful collection of... Oh, that's not what I was trying to... lined up. Looks like someone has demolished the cakes to me. Afternoon tea is time of indulgence, you know. It is quite the, English way. It is Mr. Garrideb's custom to take 2 cakes with his tea. That sounds delightful. Oh, wait a minute, though. There are at least 10 cakes on this cake stand. Well, naturally. It would never do to waste the leftovers. So whatever Mr. Garrideb doesn't eat, I say to myself, Joan, you shall have to tidy up. How magnanimous of you. Okay. Okay, so the window was not seemingly selectable? I'm confused by that. That is a full-size cannon. I'm more curious about the dress on top of it. Oh my, it's real. Thought it might be a replica.
Oh, that old thing. Ah, it's a little more than a toy.
Sorry?
The army was selling it off when I retired, so I decided to give it a new home. Never know when the enemy might attack next. Jolly useful to have a cannon about the house.
Really? It isn't, overkill?
Leave it bad, I always say. You never know what this twisted world is going to throw at you next, boy.
Okay. There might be trouble brewing, Mr. Garrideb.
Always is. Take Jonia. Never fails to have a clean apron in reserve. Dries them over the barrel, you see. They dry very well there over on the cannon, Joan tells me. Which rather proves my point, I feel.
It's been reduced to a drying rack. No wonder the huge cannon looks like it's hanging its head in shame. Maybe. Okay, well, probably good enough reason to leave, man. Holy moly, she wasn't lying about the books. What? Just look at this blaze. Is that, bricked off because it's up against another building? Or it's on, that fucking window. The smell it, it's so musty in here. I suppose it's the mountains of old books that are responsible for that. Oh, is that a cat? Is that a real cat? He didn't ask us to go take care of the cat at the very least. I don't think I've ever seen so many books in all my life. No, me neither. So dark in here, too. Is that the window over there? Well, it was the window, I think, yeah. Once upon a fucking time. But for some reason, it's been close up with bricks and mortar. So this is where Mr. Natsumi lives. By the way, I haven't spotted Mr. Sholmes anywhere, have you? No, that's true, but according to what Mr. Garrideb told us, the great detective should be around here somewhere investigating. Or he finished up right before we got here. Maybe he's the cat. Have we considered him being the cat? Or maybe he's like dead underneath the books. That's a possibility. He could just be dead. He could be extremely, extremely dead. Wouldn't that be a plot twist? Sherlock Holmes dies in like just fucking like first... just like off screen. Bye-bye, kitty. Oh my, what an adorable little cat. Perhaps he's looking after all the books while his master is away. Is he also feeding himself? Picking up after his, droppings? And all that sort of fun stuff? I don't know about that. He disappeared into the pile of books as quick as a flash. It was a tricolor Mike, wasn't it? Do they even have that sort of cat here in Great Britain? Perhaps Mr. Natsumi brought the little creature with him from Japan. That made me feel homesick now. Alrighty. I've only been in the country for 2 days. Fair. Could you even call this a window? I think so. It was a window at one time, after all. Although, all that remains is a frame with some bricks around it now. It's really just a wall then, isn't it? Okay. Trying to remember if the other room had, because that's a possibility. If the other room had a brick exterior, or if it was a distinct wall. Because you could have a situation where basically you had like a little house here and then someone bought it at some point and like built around it using the brick structure. And that could have been, like, this could just be the remains of the previous house. And like floors 2 and 3 were brand new or something like that. Why would anyone deliberately brick it up like that? I assume it wasn't Natsumi who did it. I'm afraid I have no idea. Ah! Oh, perhaps Mr. Natsumi painted the brick design in a fit of whimsy. That is alarmingly feasible. I'm not sure I'd bet on that still, but, you know. Anyway, whatever the reason, the lack of ventilation here makes the place very oppressive. So you think it was just like, maybe it wasn't a brick, was it? I thought it was a brick pattern outside. So it's not like the bricks would, whatever. It does. I imagine being cooped up in this room like this would be extremely trying. Well, look at all these books stacked up here. They almost reached the ceiling. They're all works of English literature, and they all smell so musty. If this volume of books at hand, you'd never be able to, you'd never be short of reading material, would you? No. What a dreaming idea. A bad dream, maybe. For me, at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the book that's at the bottom of the pile now will ever be read again. Ah, so reading is an experience that comes but once in a lifetime, just as the tea ceremony teaches us. What? Certainly expect the conversation to turn down the path of tea ceremony philosophy. Oh, look, it's a beckoning cat from home. That is a bit big and bulky, isn't it? Surely Mr. Natsumi didn't bring that Maneki Neko all the way from Japan with him. I hardly think you're in a position to comment, Mr. Naoto. Are you forgetting the enormous Dharma doll that you brought in your luggage? Wait, I brought what? Well, it can be dangerous traveling abroad. I wanted a lucky charm. Yes, the lucky charm for your best friend dying. Yeah, that really fucking helped. Well, I imagine Mr. Natsumi wanted the same, and this cat is sure to beckon good luck to him. It's not doing a very good job so far, is it? Mustn't say such things. I didn't say a word. Why are my eyes such a giveaway? Oh, is that the actual implication of all that? What is left? That desk seems to be wedged in a crevasse between the mountains of books on either side. I suppose Mr. Natsumi would sit there and read a while while stroking his cat. But surrounded by all sides by these towering old tomes. Oh my goodness. Surely he dreamt of books every night as well. Yes, he must have done, mustn't he? Also, let's remember he's been here for a week. Oh, what's this? It's a receipt from a second-hand bookshop. Your books. Oh, yes. Mr. Natsumi's name is on it. Look. And the date of purchase. 2 days ago at 4:45 p.m. Oh, that's the day of the incident. That's just a short while before he was embroiled in the terrible attack. He must have been on his way back from buying some old books. Okay. Could we maybe demonstrate he bought like so many fucking books he couldn't possibly have just like had like both like a hand open to stab someone? Not sure what else there's left to check. Oh. Was he there before when I don't think he was there before when I panned over. I'm gonna ignore him. Move. Oh, hello. It seems we can't meet with Mr. Natsumi at the moment. Oh, I wanted to ask him about he's being briefed about his appearance in court tomorrow, apparently. I see. Yes, the trial's only a day away. Alright then, let's come back later. Yes. Really hope he's not answering any more questions with inappropriate textbook answers like, yes, I do. Okay. Well. So many choices. So many choices of what to do. So many choices of what to examine. Ah! Look, Mr. Naruhodo! There he is. Ah, where did he appear from? He seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. I hope he won't mind if we disturb him. Hello, Mr. Sholmes! Oh, you two! Oh, did I ever give him a voice? Because I wasn't voicing stuff at that time because I had, like, fucking COVID, destroying my vocal abilities to, like, talk for more than, like, a few seconds at a time without coughing. Ah, you two, good day. Now, let me see. What was it that we met? It was like 2 days ago. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. We were together on the SS Beria. Oh, yes, of course, the Beria. And let me see. What happened on that voyage? It was Kazuma Asagi. He died tragically. But you were a great help to us. Ah, yes, but of course, the case of Miss Asagi. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it? Oh, well, you seem to remember something of it at least. It's been like a day. What an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Herlock Sholmes. Only a few days later. This is Mr. Oh, no, my dear madam, hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded in my brain attic. Miss Naruhodo. And Mr. Susato. Try the other way around, Mr. Sholmes. Oh, I lose the first round. Oh, what a... Yeah, he is very interesting. He still is. Yeah, no, I like him as a character. He very much fits the Ace Attorney vibe for what I expect of a Sherlock Holmes, I guess. In truth, I had hoped to invite you both to my Baker Street suite the day we arrived in London. But some Scotland Yarders ambushed me in the railway station and whisked me away to a crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. Resolved the matter in no more than 30 minutes. So, they apprehended Sasaki-san in that short amount of time. I'm guessing he literally just got brought to the place, spun around in a circle, looked in a direction towards a house, opened it, saw the guy reacting, and was just like, yeah, that's him. Well, I'm afraid the pursuance of a new case has dulled my recollection of my past involvements a little. A little. It is a mistake to think that one's brain attic has elastic walls and can distend to any extent. I mean, admittedly, I have forgotten people's names over the course of, like, a few days. I'm not gonna say that's, like, unreasonable, but I'm not usually involved in murder cases with those people. I do my best to forget useless facts, lest they should elbow out the useful ones. Yes, those are my own words of inimitable wisdom, you know, from an adventure entitled A Study in Scarlet. Please, there is no need to quote yourself. Oh, I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately my associate pens them beautifully. It's Iris, I suppose. Mr. Sholmes, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you mentioned. Ah, goodness. What an earnest expression. My dear madam, I should be only too pleased. And this murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case. Okay. Present. Let's present an armband. Because we're so good at it. Mr. Naruhodo, please. Despite aspersions to the contrary, I am a professional. If I'm to unleash my deductive powers on that trinket, I must ask for a sum of £3 in cash. Oh, I don't
need you to make any deductions about it. I was just wondering if you might know. Mr. Naruhodo, as a professional, I insist that if I am to offer my opinion on that trinket, I must ask for a sum of £3 in cash. Very much the capitalist, isn't he? I believe Mr. Sholmes has an eye on an expensive copy of the complete works of Shakespeare. Yes, to stand on the stage amid rapturous applause. Oh, it's long been a dream of mine, as you know. As I know? I literally had no idea. Fun guy. Okay. Sort of one. Yeah, just go down the list. We know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Sasaki Natsume. It seems that you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Sholmes, for the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road. Natsume. Yes, I believe there was a name along those lines. But Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little? I'm sorry, Mr. Zato, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean. What? I can't believe he was looking Sato-san squarely in the eye while feigning ignorance. I assure you, I am not merely feigning ignorance. It would appear as if the pair of you are under some misapprehension. Oh, how? I assure you, I have no recollection of you, of accusing your stooped compatriot of the crime. Yeah, I suppose... He is certainly the one who led them to him, but there wasn't anything to make it look like he accused him outside of the fact that he got arrested, which means someone else could have done it, right? And you know what would be probably a really good way of making someone accuse him? If you burst into his place and started asking questions and he kept giving textbook answers like, yes, 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 sir, yes, very much, very good, yeah, I'm fine, yeah. You know what? That would definitely make someone look real suspicious if you're like, did you stab that woman? It's like, yes, I do. Yes, I'm fine. But that doesn't make sense. The good detective of Scotland Yard made the following request of me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene. A man seen fleeing. There were a number of books scattered on the pavement at the scene. From the book plate. Okay, there we go. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary. What did you say? I believe there is a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question. So don't you think Mr. Natsume is the culprit then? Oh, so you don't think he's the culprit then? That I could not tell you, but it was aggravating my faculties, hence why I returned here. You felt like you were missing something? However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books, I found myself quite lost in bibliophily. Do not be deceived into believing that I'm a man of leisure. No, no, no. Oh dear. This does seem like a appropriate time to show him the receipt. Not that there's much more he could add, I imagine. The receipt for the books our stooped Japanese friend purchased. I uncovered that yesterday morning. A marvelous find, wouldn't you agree? Oh, yes. The work of a truly great detective. What a scatterbrained individual he must have been to have left it behind. Curiously, there was no mention of this publication on the receipts. Odds when you consider how fascinating it is. You mean not everyone in London buys Rance magazine every time they visit a shop? Yes, very odd indeed. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, how expertly you slipped that into the conversation. You'd be a master salesman. I wonder how much of his, like... I do wonder how much of his popularity in this, like, version of him, he's like literally he's just like selling his shit, like every time he's like he's talking to the press and he's like, you can read about my adventures in so and so magazine. He probably like owns stock in it too. I'm glad you agree. Detective stories can be great works of literature too, my dear fellow.
Okay. We didn't really get much of that, did we? Okay, sorry, back.
Tell me, have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings?
Oh, he's gonna bring it up, okay. Yes, Mr. Garadem, a retired military man. It was the first time I've ever met a soldier from the Great British Institution that is the, Services. Is that, like, I'm not aware of that name, at least. It was the first time I've ever met a maid from the Great British Institution that is, service. I like how she... Oh, I didn't think it was that funny. Oh, I do apologize.
As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid.
Yes, I read as much of my Great Britain primer.
And so, conversely,
whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling therein. Betoken their social standing. Sorry.
Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class, and those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family.
Oh, goodness. How extraordinary.
As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundaries between the middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance.
I had no idea.
And it is for precisely that reason that I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs.
Yeah, this, like I said, this place looks like it's falling apart. It is very weird that a retired military veteran is, like, middle class, right? I mean, he's a landlord, but, like, is that enough to make you middle class when you have, like, 2 rooms and, like, you're renting one of them?
Specifically, in the retired army veteran, Mr. John Garadem.
Oh?
Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I'm yet unable to ascertain.
I'm thoroughly lost on what he means to say. I mean, he's just saying that the guy's fucking hiding something. And he thinks it's weird that, like, the guy in his situation... I mean, there are things to point to think, like... to think that he wouldn't be particularly rich in a way that he would have a maid. But... I feel like the nature of that, of hiding something there, though, is probably going to connect to a connection to the victim, right? Maybe. And maybe why she was killed.
This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody.
Sooner or later. Mr. Natsumi has stabbed no one.
Not yet.
But sooner or later, as I said. I don't believe that's the issue here.
About this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes.
Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea?
No window?
Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window of sorts. But if it's been completely blocked with bricks...
Ah, I see.
The answer to that question is quite simple.
Window tax.
Oh my god, I think I've heard about this before, actually. Fuck, this is like an... Oh, fuck. I need to get in my brain attic and try to remember... I've heard about this, like, just as a trivia fact before. Surely... not a tax on windows?
Precisely that.
Oh my goodness!
Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Those of lesser means, having inherited sizable and costly family home perhaps, rapidly closed windows up. While the rich opened windows here, there, and, well, everywhere. In an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money.
How awful and unjust! forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light.
Indeed. Disease was rife as a result. And some 40 years ago, or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished.
Okay, so 40 years ago. I was gonna think like maybe this actually ties into the landlord, but his retired military stuff was in 1880, and he's definitely not 40 years out from whatever like retired military stuff he was a part of, right? It seems like it would be an unreasonable conclusion to come to based on everything, right? So it's not like I was thinking like maybe it's a sign of him like not being as well off as he like acts like he is with the maid.
But his legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example.
I suppose Mr. Natsumi's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps.
It would appear so. I've done a little digging,
and discovered that these lodgings were offered
for an extraordinarily low price.
Because the room is so awful, I should think. He's only been here a week, too. I wonder if they, like, specifically went out of their way to be like, let's put it at a low price, get someone desperate in here, and frame them for a murder, basically, right? Hence why they know so much about the person.
Apparently, Mr. Natsumi only moved in here about 1 week ago. Oh, yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabbing nature of the accommodation.
Oh?
Still, that is of little relevance here. A matter not worthy of further attention.
Are you sure? I'm curious now. I mean, it does seem to point at a potential explanation that could result in some innocence being levied.
Well, I believe I've told you all I can now.
Thank you, Mr. Sholmes.
Yes, Mr. Nahodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law?
You remember that, did you?
Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? Did the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it?
You're actually, like, the only person that's, like, pronounced it correctly. Like, whenever we've, like, talked to anyone about him, you've pronounced it multiple times, so, like, compared to everyone else, that actually is, like, because they've gone out of their way to note how people were pronouncing it incorrectly before, right? And they're going out of their way to show he's pronouncing it correctly, which is interesting. So I think someone made a comment on the last case that some of the stuff I pointed out is like, isn't that that sounds racist, that feels racist, and apparently like in the original Japanese, it's much more explicitly racist. So they're definitely going out of their way to like show the sort of like more in the era, like this is how foreigners were really treated. And realistically, that's how foreigners are treated in many places, even nowadays. So, especially back in imperial times, in a place that considers itself the bastion of all good things in the world, right? I'm not sure.
Not sure? On what grounds?
Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday.
Really? Well then, I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized. And so promptly, too.
The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence?
Yes, trust.
Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Natsumi didn't do it, did he?
My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea.
Oh, but I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate?
Ah, yes, that was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them.
Oh, I see.
Nevertheless, there are two facts I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was a Japanese occupant of this room. And there are witnesses who swear to have seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Oh, and one more thing.
Oh, what is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us. I cannot say with any certainty whether or not this is of relevance in this case, but I am quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Mr. Garrideb is... Mr. Sholmes said as much before, actually, didn't he? Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case. Mr. Naruhodo? As yet, our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence. No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Garrideb's secret. Oh, just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo. A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. Very busy. Incredibly busy. Super duper busy. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes. Yes, so true, to be or not to be. That is indeed the question, Mr. Naruhodo. Is he referring to be a lawyer or not be a lawyer? To be or not to be brushed off, that is the question, and the answer is all too clear. Let's leave Mr. Sholmes in peace, shall we? Oh well.